Maximizing Price Stability in a Monetary Economy by Warren Mosler and Damiano, Silipo. Section 7. The Role and Operation of the Employed Buffer Stock Wage. In a market economy, a buffer stock policy is used to set one price, with all other prices subsequently reflecting relative value with regard to that set price. This was the basis for the gold standard, for example, with the price of gold set by the government and subsequently all other prices reflected values relative to gold. Therefore, any new gold supply entering the market would be inflationary in that the relative value of gold to other goods and services would decline. And with policy holding the price of gold constant, other prices would increase to reflect the altered relative value. Likewise, with a labor buffer stock policy, the ECB in this proposal would set the wage of the transitional job, with the presumption that market forces would subsequently determine all other prices as they express their value relative to the set price of transitional job labor. The employed buffer stock wage therefore functions as the price anchor for the currency, as an instrument of price stability, and, in practice, the source of the definition of the value of the euro in the euro area. The management and operation of an employed labor buffer stock policy would, as a point of logic, be a responsibility of the ECB. The role of the buffer stock wage as set by the ECB is described by standard microeconomic monopoly pricing theory, where monopolists are the price setter rather than price taker, with monopolists setting two prices. The first is the own rate, which is how their product exchanges for itself. With a currency, this is the interest rate, and the ECB, for example, is the price setter of the policy interest rate for the euro. The second price set by monopolists is how their product exchanges for other goods and services in the economy, and this is done by setting the terms of exchange for at least one traded good or service. With this proposal, that price becomes the wage paid to transitional workers participating in the employed labor buffer stock. That is, that wage becomes the numeraire for the currency, with market forces adjusting all other prices so as to continuously reflect indifference levels with the employed buffer stock wage set by the ECB. The ECB would then use this wage to achieve its inflation target. Leaving the wage constant would promote 0% inflation of final prices, assuming, for example, 0% productivity growth. And, for example, if the target was 2% inflation, the wage could be continuously increased at a 2% annual rate, again assuming 0% productivity growth. With higher productivity growth, the transitional job wage could be increased by that much to achieve the same increase in final prices. At the same time, while the wage of the transitional job determines the rate of inflation, it is also critical to manage the size of the buffer stock to ensure it functions as an effective price anchor without prejudice to other aspects of public policy, of public purpose. Therefore, the ECB would be minding the size of the employed buffer stock as well as the wage. If the size was deemed to be larger than needed to be an effective price anchor, the ECB has the mandate to enact policy designed to increase GDP, which we suggest could include options to accommodate fiscal expansion of the member nations. Likewise, if the size of the employed buffer stock was deemed to be too small to function as a price anchor, restrictive policy would be in order.